Greetings, it is I, Orkar Isber, welcoming you to the Sanguine Archives, through which I will guide you today. We will explore the lore of the World of Darkness by White Wolf from a perspective of and a focus on vampires. So let me guide you today through the memories of the blood. And I say today because, again, this episode is more out of character than it would be in character, and it will deal with the depiction of Baali as characters in general, tying into what was already said about Baali as player characters and Baali as non-player characters. In tonight's venture, I Am Who I Am, we will go a bit more in detail about how you could represent a Baali. Keep in mind it's of course your game, your character, and you just have fun with it. That's the most important thing. Maybe I can give you some ideas what you could do or maybe shouldn't do with the character though. So have fun watching. I guess by now you have a pretty good idea on how you want to depict the Baali in your game. If you want to at all, that is. But I still want to add some food for thought and an addendum to what I've said so far. The Baali are not so much pro-Satan as they are anti-God. As a result, Baali will encourage any behavior that goes against monotheistic rules, laws and fundamentalism. Sinning is kind of a Baali's duty. So if you know what the certain holy books have as listed as sins, the Baali will happily indulge in them and try to spread those. You will see that many famous Baali, as example, entered homosexual relationships, which are very likely encouraged, cause it is a sin in the holy books, and on top it's of course something that is spicy. It may also be that it genuinely just happens, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Baali actively encourage it. That said, the Baali despise one thing more than any other, and that is letting someone else have power over you. When Moloch and Troil were found to share a blood bond and possibly even love, the Molochim abandoned desire in disgust as he allowed Troil to have power over him and fell with Troil that day, and instead of just abandoning the city, some were cheerful about what they have accomplished and that they rid themselves of a weak member of the clan. After all, a lord, a Baal that shows weakness isn't fit of the Baali blood. The Baali are lords. Willpower and self-restraint are vital in what they do. Drug lords do not take their own products, well knowing what they do. That means that the Baali does not just give in to their desires. Indeed, the Baali welcome and encourage any depravity, and you might have them offer you help to fulfill your darkest desires. All of the sick things that even the Giovanni and the Tzimitzi won't do, the Baali will. Sexually, the more perverted the better. Torture-wise, take the worst horror stuff you've seen in movies or read in books, multiply it by 10, and that's the thing that's barely worth the respect among the Baali. Baali commit the vilest acts, and I'd refer to Anders' video on the Nefandi, that's Ander WWAD, to get an idea on how to portray a Nefandus, and most of what Anders said there also applies to the Baali. The Baali aren't just evil for evil's sake, they have a plan in mind. They have something they want to achieve, they have something they want to accomplish. They have a plan laid out step by step before them. And if you depict a Baali, you should be aware what your actual goal is in the city, in the night, and what you have to do step by step to achieve that goal. Keep in mind that you will play as a double masquerade and try to fit in with another clan and do something that makes you less suspicious. However, you will always have your ultimate goal in mind and try to do as much towards that goal as is possible. That means that you very likely will maintain the picture of an innocent, nice person that is so likable and charming, and nobody would ever suspect eating the local neighborhood children. You don't want to raise suspicion, you want to be the grey man, as you would call secret agents. You just try to not stick out at all. Be forgettable. Be someone that you interact with and 5 seconds later forgot about the conversation already. And as depraved as the Baali are, they are also very strong-willed and disciplined. They cannot allow to show weakness, in special if they are in league with the Infernal, because the demons will jump at any opportunity and chance that they have. So while the Baali will indulge in their darkest desires, they should never be seen as junkies. They have it all under control. They can and will stop at any moment if need be and focus on what's ultimately important. They are after all driven. That doesn't mean that there can't be exceptions to the rule, but the Baali in love, well, that's weird, isn't it? And a Baali who is so indulged in his sins that he can't do his job properly or his performance suffers isn't quite intimidating at all either, and will very likely die very soon. Baali should always be aware of the fears and vices of the people that they deal with, given it's a first dot discipline in Daimonion, and from a pure roleplay perspective, that is an extremely overpowered discipline, allowing you to subtly feed into the fears of someone and drawing them gently in by fostering their desires and hinting then that they can get more, subtly, not in your face. Don't forget, masters are, the Baali are masters of seduction, not Toriado strippers, which is by the way another absolutely overused stereotype, which of course some of those exist, but you have to keep in mind that the Baali want to show someone where they can get their desires fulfilled and that they don't judge them for it, rather than just handing it to them. Basically, if you can realize that you are being seduced, it's way too obvious. Think ahead. Maybe Carl, let's just call him Carl, has this vice, and you invite him to a fun but absolutely not at all related activity, and another, have some fun, become friends, and on one occasion you accidentally, run into a situation where they can see their desire, not more, just see it, just enough that they know that something they want is out there. Maybe you have a fun talk afterward about it and signal that you don't have a problem with them liking this. Don't bring it up for weeks or even months. Just don't mention that it happened, just enough that they know that you don't have a problem with it. And you spend more time with each other. You do some activities, do whatever you have to become friends. Be likable, be charming, be someone they absolutely admire. And then, who knows, wait just a little more, just a little more. Maybe on another occasion you run into a situation where they actually can indulge in their vice. Just a little bit. Don't encourage it. Don't judge. That's all you need to do. Don't encourage them to do something. Just don't judge. Say, you know, whatever. Play it slowly. Don't give it to them right away. Just build trust. Lure them in. Have a talk. If they feel confident to speak about advice, do not encourage it, just be a friend and listen. And occasionally you run into more and more situations where they can fulfill the vice. Be a friend and tell them that they will regret it if they do not take the chance. After all, how often does this chance present itself? Don't participate in it. Just let them enjoy and retreat. And there you got it. Job done. Baali don't force people down the path of corruption. They don't push you down the steps. They gently guide you. You show your victim the way and let them walk on their own 2 feet. Let them walk by themselves. That's of utmost importance. Unlike Setites, Baali don't promise you power or fulfilling your desires. They show you a way where you can do it yourself. They don't hand you the fish to eat. They teach you how to fish. That's one very important thing. If you want to portray your Baali well, the first rule is that nobody must know that you are a Baali, or your character that you're using, whatever, in your games. Just have them be beyond suspicion. Have them be the guy that everyone wants to talk with. the hot babe that everyone wants to sleep with. Have them be the upstanding member of the community that upholds all the rules and inspires others to do the same. Be the person that is so charismatic and likable that nobody can be mad at them. Be the person that is admired by all and loved by all and a friend to everyone. That's who you actually want to be. You can even try to be the soulmate to people, the one that everyone can talk to and no one will be judged for. On another note, the Baali have, similar to Malkavians, ways of getting knowledge that are beyond others. They should always know something as an ace they can draw if need be, like Moloch knowing about Troil's diablerie and using that as a safeguard just in case seduction falls. Baali are very able to use any dirty trick that need be, and if you don't want to side with them voluntarily, they will definitely have something to force you to do it. After all, let's just say diablerie is your vice. Well, the Baali knows all about it, and guess who he can tell? Maybe he can even prove that you did it, and you don't want to be part of a blood hunt that is aimed at you, I might add. Always have some trick, some knowledge that you can play out if need be, because having a safeguard is absolutely vital if you are playing a Baali. It's good if people know you, it's even better if they know you have something that could ruin them. Baali are also very well versed in the occult, arguably more so than Tremere are, and they should without a doubt be the best knowledge creatures when it comes to the infernal, aside the demons themselves, some of whom by the way are actual Baali and vice versa. Also Baali do have obfuscate and thus means of spying on a target and get information just like the Nosferatu can. Let the Baali have access to knowledge that they shouldn't have. That makes them just more creepy and intimidating. Baali should also always be depicted as highly intelligent, in league with the double masquerade, upstanding, nice people who are beyond suspicion. After all, you don't want to kill a friend, do you? I'm not saying that the Baali cares, but you know, almost everyone else does. They are kind of the high-end sociopaths and narcissists who masterfully exploit everyone around them without remorse and by breaking every law without anyone complaining about it. They may sincerely have no idea what should even be wrong about something that they do. After all, it's for a higher purpose. They may also show some code of honor as a part of their disguise, but believe me, they will drop that quicker than a went through smelling profit. The Baali clan weakness is something we talked about, but I want to bring it up just again, because it's quite special for the modern knights. In the modern knights, religious symbols are pretty much everywhere as they just became jewelry and fashions. However, given the rise of atheism, it's also kind of more interesting as religious symbols lose power and influence and are not tied to true faith much anymore. Basically, encountering true faith in the modern knights is very unlikely. And keep in mind, the actual clan weakness of the Baali is having double effect of true faith. So if true faith is wielded against them, it's very devastating, but it's not like they just melt away if you rub a cross in their face or something. Keep in mind that many Baali actually were high-ranking members of the Catholic Church. At least one even managed to be a cardinal and the right hand of the Pope. So it's not like you couldn't enter churches or go all if someone shows you a cross or something like that. And also this weakness may cause discomfort, maybe even slight pain, but nothing that would actually really have an effect on you. It's good to keep in mind though that you're not very comfortable around religious symbols, and that goes for all religious symbols. As I said, the anti-god thing is more geared towards the monotheistic religions, but a Buddhistic sign or a Hindu sign, or indeed a Thor's hammer, might as well have an effect on you. Not in terms of getting wounds or something, but maybe causing you a bit of discomfort and maybe drawing your attention a bit. There is some speculation why the Baali clan weakness is the way it is, because if it would be a curse from God directly, it would be more likely that it would just apply to Christian or other monotheistic symbols. Cain's curse may just be more manifest in the Baali because they actively draw the ire of the heavens. Or maybe there is just the hidden potential of the sleepers at work, you know, the not yet awakened mages, the basically every humans, the non-awakened humans that instinctively seeks the spark of the divine, and since every human has that, maybe that's the reason why it works. However, I want to state again, Baali can perfectly enter churches and be in the presence of religious symbols. They did infiltrate not only the Catholic Church but also other organizations of religious origin. The pain that they might have if they, say, touch a blessed, actually holy cross or something is pain. It will not incapacitate them. Or, to quote a Katharina device from Clan Bruja, a cross in the hands of a sinner is just iron. When depicting a Baali, you also have to keep in mind that you are depicting a vampire from another clan. If you pick a Baali character, you should remember that 99% of your game time that you actually play the character is played as your cover, as your second identity. You are playing that foremost, and the Baali thing is something to keep in mind, to have luring in the back of your head. As example, if you play a Toreador, better said a Baali posing as a Toreador, you are playing a Toreador for most of the game. You will act like a Toreador, you will speak like a Toreador, you will clothe yourself like a Toreador, you will share the interests of a Toreador, and if you see a beautiful piece of art, you will just pretend to fall into trance, just like a Toreador, because you kind of want to mimic the weaknesses of the clans that you infiltrate as well. So for all purposes, you are playing a Toreador. The Baali thing is in the back of your head. What goals do you want to achieve in the city? What goals do you have for the coterie? What stepping stones do you want to take to achieve your goal? And how can you use your Toreador personality to actually achieve those steps? You never ever openly play as a Baali, which is why I highly recommend having two character sheets. One for your Baali with the actual powers and things that he can and can't do, the real character sheet, and a cover character sheet that you actually play as and present to others, which should be as close to the original Baali character sheet as possible, meaning that you have the same skills, the same attributes and stuff like that, but the disciplines differ, and your background very likely will as well. As will most likely your bloodline, your generation, pretty much everything. And you will play that for the most part. So on depicting a Baali, you have to keep in mind that the evil that you do will mostly happen off screen, or better said, not during the actual gameplay. Though you can keep in mind that you try to get others to admit, or better said, trust you with their vices and what they actually want to do, and use the fears that you know against them. You may also want to make sure that your cover story is actually something you enjoy, because as I said, you will be playing that for the most time. Now I catch myself going into rambling, so we will end the tour for today and continue some other time. So thank you for watching, definitely subscribe, leave a comment if you have questions, like the video, share, have a good day and see you next time.